Welcome to the Class of 2018 performance of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary, over many a quaint, curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more.
Ah, distinctly I remember. It was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I sought to borrow, for my brook surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden, the angels named Lenore, nameless here, forevermore.
And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrill me, fill me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still the beating in my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance to my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance to my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more."
Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, for the fact is that I was napping, and so faintly you came tapping, so quietly you came rapping at my chamber door, that I was scarce sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there, and nothing more."
Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams the mortal had ever dared to dream before. The silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more.
Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely there is something at my window lattice. Let me see what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still in the moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more."
Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more.
Then this ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum with countenance it wore. "Though thy crest is shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly grim, an ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Platanian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore."
Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast above the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore.
But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hips have flown before." Then the bird said, "Nevermore."
Starlight, the stillness broken, by the replies so amply spoken. Doubtless did I, what it utters is only stock and store. call from some happy master, whom a merciful disaster followed faster, till the songs when burden bore, till a dirge of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore.
But the raven still beguiling my sad fancy into smiling. Straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bustin' door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking, fancy unto fancy, thinking, what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly gaunt, an ominous bird of yore, meant in croaking, nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the foul eyes now burn into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining, that the lamp-light glowed o'er, with his velvet violet lining, with the lamp-light glowed o'er, she shall press, ah, nevermore.
Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed by an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, and nepenthe, from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, O quaff, this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore, quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore, quoth the raven, nevermore.
Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, quoth the raven, nevermore.
Be that word or sign of parting, bird or fiend I shrieked up staring, get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonium shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting, on the palace, bust the palace, just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted
Nevermore.